Now that you are familiar with what makes a tint and what makes a shade, you are going to be doing some paint mixing on your own to paint your cupcake cups. Now, a couple of things that you need to make sure that you are thinking about while you begin. First of all, you have 3 cupcake cups, and each one should use a different color. You do not want all 3 of your cupcake cups, or even 2 of them, to look alike. So you will be doing your mixing with tints and shades 3 different times. So when you're finished, you should be an expert. We are going to start with the largest one because it has the largest spaces. And while you're learning to mix paints and stuff, I want this to be easiest for you, so we're going to use the big spaces. Those are easier to paint. Now, you will need to go to the supply table and you will need to collect some things.
When you get to the supply table, it should look like this. You've got trays that already have black and white paint, and you've got your choices of colored paints, and you have your mixing tray and your small brushes. Here is what you should do. Collect one of the black and white trays. Pick your favorite color, or the color that you wish to use this time, of colored paint, and place it onto your tray with black and white. Take one brush, add it to your tray, and take one mixing tray back to your seat with you. So when you leave, you should be carrying these things. So here we are. I have brought my supplies back to my table and I'm ready to get started. You remember that a tint is a color that has white mixed in it. That will make the color lighter. And a shade is a color that has black mixed in it, and that will make the color darker. Now, on each one of our cupcake cups, we have 5 different spaces, and your job is to make every space look different. Now, the first step is very easy. We're going to go to the very center space, this one right here, and we're going to not mix anything with our paint. We're just going to paint it the plain color. So I have chosen a turquoise blue, and I have used the small brush so that my paint stays inside the lines. And I'm just going to paint that middle section the plain color with nothing mixed in.
Remember to paint slowly. Use the very tip of your brush and do your very best to stay inside the lines of this cupcake cup. You should begin doing this right now. Please remember to pause your video and start it again when you are ready.
Now that I have that done, I'm ready to start painting some more of these sections. I'm going to begin by painting these 2 on the right-hand side using tints. Now remember, to make a tint, I'm going to be adding white. So I'm going to use this paint that I have already on my brush. I'm going to scoop out a little bit more, and I'm going to add it to one of these circle spaces on my mixing tray. I'm going to dip into the white just a little bit. You only need about this much, and I'm going to mix it into that color on my mixing tray. You will see it start to turn a little bit lighter before your very eyes. If you think that it does not turn light enough, now remember, it doesn't have to be totally light. It just needs to be lighter than that one. But you might need a little tiny bit more, like I do, if you feel like it didn't change enough. There, that's better. Now I'm going to use my new color, this tint. It's a little bit lighter than this one, so I want to put it right beside the plain color. So I'm going to go right here.
Press pause so that you can catch up with me.
Now I can see 2 different colors on my paper, the regular turquoise and a tint that is slightly lighter. I'm going to do the same thing again in this space. I'm going to use this paint that's already here. Even though I'm almost out of it, I'm going to be adding more white, and this is going to become lighter. You do not need to add any more of the color that you started with. We'll use what's already here. I'm going to get a nice big scoop of white this time because I want it to be a lot different than what's already on my paper. Perfect. And I'm going to use the tip of my brush and I'm going to paint slowly, and I'm going to paint that last tint, which should now be the last section of my cupcake cup on the right side.
Press pause again so that you can catch up.
Perfect. Now we are ready to go to the other side, and the other side, these two spaces, we are going to paint with shades. Now you remember that a shade is a color that is mixed with black, and it's going to be darker on this side. Now, you're going to keep your mixing tray, but you need a new brush because I did not give you any water to wash this out. So take this dirty brush back to the supply table, put it where the dirty brushes go, and get yourself a brand new clean brush just like this one. Ta-da! I got my new brush. Now, to make a shade, something that I need to make sure that you understand is that black is so dark, it makes it so powerful, and you will only need a little bitty, itty bitty, teeny tiny, weeny teeny tiny bit to make this color turn a little bit darker. Very, very small amount. We're going to do the same thing that we did when we made a tint. We're going to take a scoop of this. We're going to put it in one of our mixing places. And like I said, you're going to get the smallest, itty bittiest, smallest, tiniest amount of black on the end of this brush. Only about this much. See, it's not even on the whole tip, it's only on half. And I'm going to mix this into my turquoise. You can see that it changed it just a little bit. It made it look sort of dull or kind of dirty, and that's what we want. Now I have a shade. And since this is my first one with just a small amount of black, I'm going to put it right here next to my plain color. That's where we want to start.
You know what to do. Pause and catch up.
Perfect. I can already see it getting darker. Now, for my very last one, same thing. I'm a little bit low on paint. I'm going to add a little bit of black, a little bit more black, and I hope I don't run out. Again, just about this much. And that makes our color even darker. Now, if it doesn't look like it did much to you, test it first. And if it looks the same, mine looks a little bit the same, you have to use your artist eye and make this decision for yourself. I feel like it needs to be a little bit darker because it's too close to being the same. So I'm going to add a little bit more black, a little tiny, itty bitty bit more black. See? I'm going to test it. Definitely darker. I'm going to go with it.
Pause again. Catch up.
Perfect. I can definitely see the difference. Now that I am finished, I am going to check and double check and make sure that all 5 spaces of my cupcake cup look different from each other. You should not have any 2 spaces that look alike. It should be regular color in the middle, a little bit lighter, and a little more lighter, plain color in the middle, a little bit darker, and a little bit more darker. So I have 5 different colors on one cupcake cup. If you have a question or if you have 2 colors that look alike and you need to know what to do to fix it, please stop the video and come ask me about that now. Actually, I want everyone to stop the video and show me your first cupcake cup right now. Welcome back. If you've been approved, then that means you're ready to go on to the next cupcake. You are going to do exactly the same thing on the second cupcake as you did on the first cupcake, with one change. You will need to get a different color here and a different brush here. Keep your mixing tray. because you can turn it around and you can use 2 of the clean spaces. I'm going to go change my colors. I am not going to come back and show you how to paint this one because you already know what to do. If you forget, rewind your video back to the steps for the first cupcake and listen along and follow along so you don't get lost. When you get finished with the second cupcake, come check in. When you get finished with the third cupcake, come check in again. Good luck. Have fun mixing tints and shades.